We are learning new details tonight about the location of 2 Americans captured in Ukraine by Russian forces. Alexander Drueke, a U.S. veteran who traveled to Ukraine on his own to fight Russian invaders, along with former Marine Andy Wynn, were taken prisoner during a battle north of Kharkiv in June. They were then transported to a detention center in Donetsk. Their location has been in question for several weeks due to recent bombings in the area. But a phone call from Alex to his mother and to the U.S. State Department is shedding some new light on where they might be tonight. And Alex's mom, Bunny Drueke, is joining us live once again. Bunny, always great to see you. How you doing?
Thank you, Marnie. Thank you for having me on. Doing okay. Doing much better since I heard from Alex yesterday.
I know. It's incredible, these updates that you get. And you're under the impression that Alex is now in a new location. What leads you to believe that?
Well, I have not heard from Alex for 3 weeks. And the call before yesterday's call, he said that they had been moved to a more traditional prison and that they had better conditions, better food. They get to go outside for 1 hour every day for fresh air. And best of all, they're no longer in solitary confinement. He and Andy and a third American are in a cell together. And that has really lifted their spirits.
Well, so 2 things that stand out to me about what you just said, Bunny. One is Andy. So he's with Andy. Any update on Andy's condition? Has he been able to communicate with his family at all to this point?
He has not. But Alex now can pass messages back and forth, and he assured me that Andy is healthy and that he is in much better spirits. The solitary confinement had been very difficult on him. Alex has been used to living alone, and as a hiker, he was used to hiking alone, so it wasn't quite as hard on him. But the solitary confinement had been hard on Andy, but he's doing great now.
Any reason that Andy would not be able to reach out as Alex is able to with you in the State Department? Did he indicate any potential understanding of why there are limitations?
Alex doesn't have any idea why, but we have gotten a clue from the State Department. They found out that with the UK POWs, that it seems that the captors have chosen one of them to be the spokesperson, and they don't hear from the other one. And we just seem to be following in that path where they've chosen Alex for whatever reason, and Alex seems to be the spokesperson.
Okay. Anything more you can share, or did you learn about this third American that's being held with them?
Yes, I was careful not to ask who it was in the first phone call, but yesterday Alex told me that the third American had been born in Rwanda, but was an American citizen. And that leads me to believe that it's the young man who was not in the Army, but he had gone out to get gasoline for his family. And when he came back, as he was coming back, they had arrested him. And his name is Swady. I don't remember the last name.
Okay.
So that appears to be who it is.
I know, Bunny, that you have met virtually with members of the State Department. There are some limitations in what they can share with you and what you can share with the public. But tell us more about what you can and those discussions.
Well, I can say that Alex and Andy are top priority for the State Department. They are working diligently with every avenue that they can. They feel like their negotiations are going well. I don't know the particulars. That's not for me to know, but they sounded very happy about the way things are going. And we're hoping to soon be able to talk to the Ukrainian ambassador about the situation.
And how would that conversation take place? What are the steps necessary to make that happen?
Well, the State Department is reaching out now to try to make that happen. And it would take place over Zoom. When we meet, it will include Joy and her mother, and also Andy's sisters.
There is a lot of chatter right now, Bunny, and I know you're aware of it, about a possible prisoner trade with Brittany Griner and Paul Whelan, 2 Americans in Russian custody. Are you in contact with their families at all? And does that update in their cases give you hope that you may see a similar outcome if it were to come to be?
Well, we are not in contact with their families. However, it's a different situation because our boys are POWs and Brittany and Paul are not. So it has to follow a different pathway. Our country can't negotiate for their release. It has to go through Ukraine. So we're trying to work very carefully with Ukraine.
Yeah, for obvious reasons, it's complicated. What's the status, Bunny, of the International Committee of the Red Cross? I know they're trying to, or at least the goal is to conduct a well check of Alex and Andy, see them in person and be able to relay that information back home.
We did have a virtual meeting with them recently, and they explained to us how this works. They are not political. They can do nothing about a release or any kind of negotiations. Their main priority is to locate the men and check on them to make sure that they're well, and then put them in contact with us. So I explained that to Alex yesterday and asked him to encourage his captors to let them know, let the Red Cross know where Alex and Andy are, so that we can soon begin sending care packages and letters to them.
Oh, wouldn't that be amazing? Bunny, it's been 2 months since Alex and Andy were captured by these Russian forces. Do you believe that you're any closer now to getting your son home, having these conversations with him?
I do. I really feel like we're getting closer. I think that the people who have him realize that these men are very important, and that our country is not going to forget about them or let them go. They're going to have to come to some agreement and let them go as soon as possible. And I feel very hopeful about it.
Well, relentless in your pursuit, and from mom to mom, I'd be doing the same thing, getting out there in front of the cameras, everything you can to show Alex how much you love him and you want him home. Bunny, always good to talk to you. Stay in touch, okay? We'll check back in shortly.
Thank you so much, Barney.
All right, take care. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.